Yo, what's up? We are now on a road trip with the Tesla Model 3. We are getting close to Hanestad. But anyway, in this video, I want to talk about the Xpeng G3 because so many people ask me, even the live stream people ask me now about the Xpeng G3 and why did they put CHAdeMO plug in it? And I will explain now. This is going to be a little bit of a podcast. Yeah, you know, the podcast. Yeah. Okay, but why did they put CHAdeMO plug on the G3? Okay, I have to explain a little bit here. I talked to Xpeng about this also. The G3 has been existing in China for a while now, so it's not a new car. It's not a new car. It's a new car for the European market, but you have to understand that the G3 has been selling in China for a while. So they're just taking existing car and then they just do whatever that needs to be done, adapt it to Europe. And the G3 was originally designed with a GBT port. The GBT port looks like CHAdeMO, but the pins are slightly different. But also the protocol for GBT is similar to CHAdeMO. It actually uses CAN bus, I think, for communication, whereas CCS is different. But okay, whatever, not too important about that one. But what's important is that the physical size of the GBT port is more or less identical as a CHAdeMO plug. And because Xpeng wants to introduce the G3 to the European market very quickly without too big cost, they chose to go for CHAdeMO plug because it's physically almost the same. If they want to fit in CCS plug, it will actually not fit. The charge port needs to be redesigned in order to fit CCS port. And you know, for me and you might be thinking, oh, but that's an easy fix, you know, how hard can it be, right? Well, it turns out that in order to change the charge port, you have to redesign the chassis. You have to enlarge the charge port and then you have to redesign the chassis. And if you redesign the chassis, then the chassis needs to go through a new type approval. And that is too time consuming and too expensive. And that's why they chose to still keep to use CHAdeMO. You know, if you look at Tesla Model S and X, why do they still come out with the modified Type 2 plug and not with CCS? Well, for the same reason, I realized, because back in the days, Tesla designed the charge port to be very nice and slick and small, but the downside is that that charge port in S and X cannot fit CCS. And if Tesla wants to change it, they have to redesign the chassis, and that would be way too expensive. So Tesla actually is doing the same thing as Xpeng, is that they will not put CCS port in S and X in the existing one. They will probably wait until they do a refresh S and X and then put CCS port natively, because the future is in the CCS. We see now that the V3 superchargers, they have only CCS, and fortunately Tesla has a strong weapon, which is a CCS adapter. So that one will act as a bridge between the old and the new port. So that works for us, and for us Tesla owners, it's not that big of a deal, because with CCS you still get 135 kilowatt in Europe. So it's pretty good. But back to the Xpeng G3. Now the CHAdeMO standard can allow higher speeds than 50 kilowatt. We have seen it in Nissan. Nissan supports 200 amp, and with the voltage in a G3 you can usually hit around 80 kilowatt even. You can get around 75 to 80 kilowatt if the car is equipped with 200 amp CHAdeMO plug or port. So the question is the CHAdeMO plug port in the G3, is it rated for 300 amp? Is the limitation in the software, or is it in the hardware? We don't know yet. That's the thing, we don't know. Hopefully they thought about it. But on the other hand, in Norway, 200 amp CHAdeMOs are almost non-existing. We have 3 locations so far. One is Eon at Dombås, The second one is Eon at Lillesand, and the third one is BKK in Bergen. That's it. That's the 200 amp plugs, chargers that can output 75-80 kilowatt on CHAdeMO. Now there will be several places they have advertised 62.5 kilowatt. That turns out to be incorrect, because, or partly correct, because those places, like some BKKs in Oslo and some places, those plugs are not rated for 200 amps. If you take a look at the plug, you will notice that the plug looks more or less like the regular 50 kilowatt plugs. They are thin, they are not this Phoenix plug. The only exception is that for those chargers, those ones that are usually Delta chargers, they're rated for 60.5. You can get 135 amp from it. But most 50 kilowatt fast chargers, those plugs, for some reason, they are only rated for 115 amp. Yeah, so I don't know why. I've fast charge a lot with the Xpeng, and I could only get 114, 115 amp from those 50 kilowatt fast charger. And then from a few ones like the ChemPower or the Delta chargers, then I get 125 amp from it, but it doesn't go higher. But with the Nissan Leaf, if I went with the Leaf to the ChemPower or the Delta chargers, the Leaf on those chargers would get 135 amp, but not 200 amp. For the 200 amp, you have to go to the 3 locations as I mentioned. So back to the point again then. Yes, CHAdeMO. It's very nice that the Leaf can support, how much was it again? 100 kilowatt, yeah. The problem in Norway is that you simply don't find many locations with 200 amp plugs. So the majority of Leaf owners, they kind of accepted that it's 50 kilowatt max. And as for the Xpeng, yes, you have to expect only 50 kilowatt most of the time. If you go for Delta chargers, you can peak at 52 kilowatt, slightly faster. And what about future cars then? Yeah, we can hope that Xpeng P7 will get CCS. I've given Xpeng my input on the CCS CHAdeMO, you know, and they understand. But of course, like I explained, you know, they have limitations, so that's why they went for CHAdeMO for now. Hopefully the future G3 refresh will have CCS, and then P7 will also have CCS plug. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. A little update about what's going on and so on. Yeah. So that's gonna be it for now then. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.